Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wisdom Waves Wednesday. Today, we are diving into a topic that every parent, a caregiver, or educator encounters: developmental stages in children and parenting challenges that they bring during those developmental stages. So, understanding these stages allows us to better support our children as they grow and help them develop into confident, independent, and amazing individuals. So, having said that, why do you think, or why is this topic so important? Now, for me, developmental stages have always been important because I have two children. So, I have seen the elder one growing in a certain manner and the younger one grasping the things in a certain manner. For me, both the children are different, unique, and my parenting styles with both the kids have to be different. It cannot be same. What works for my older one does not work for my little one. What works for my little one does not actually work for my older one. So each stage of childhood development presents new challenges for parents, obviously. Now, knowing what to expect at each phase, that can help you as parents to respond the kids with patience, empathy, and appropriate strategies instead of frustration, irritation, and annoyance. So let's do one thing. We will have an interactive sessions, so you feel free to ask questions. Pour in your questions, put your questions in the comments. I will see all the questions and I will try to answer them by the end of the session. So today we are going to discuss about one, different age groups of children, second, their relevant problems, struggles, and I will share some strategies which is easy to handle those kind of challenges. If you're ready, write ready in the chat box. Great, great. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, I am going to first welcome all of you who are here in the live session. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining in. That is so, so, so nice of you. So, welcome Priyanka, welcome Dr. Rekha, welcome Tales of Ashwin, welcome Zaza Khan. Welcome, Radhika. Welcome, Priya Rohit. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. So, our live session is on developmental stages to answer your questions, Priya. So we are going to discuss about parenting challenges and so basically parenting challenges which is relevant to child's developmental stages. So I have pinned the topic so that all of you know which topic we are talking over here today. Although this is this life I've created wherein I wanted to talk to you. So if you have any query, we can answer those queries and we can jump into the topic. Welcome, welcome Rohi, welcome Ravi, welcome Bhavya, welcome Radhika, welcome everyone. I love to see the energy, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Welcome, Kanchi. Welcome, Tiwari ji. Welcome, everybody. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, as I was talking about the parenting challenges and the developmental stages, so we'll start with stage one, which is about infants. So, if you are a parent of children 0 to 3 years, then this segment is for you. So, I've segregated in different segments. Segment one is on infants and toddlers. Segment two is on preschoolers and early school childhood, which means 3 to 6 years. The next segment is on adolescence, which is about 13 to 18 years. And the next segment in between, I'm also going to talk about the pre-teeners because that is a segment which I really want to talk. So all the five segments I'm going to talk about. So we are talking about infants, we are talking about early childhood, we are talking about mid childhood, then we are talking about preteens, and finally we'll talk about teens. So we are going to segregate in that manner. So if you're ready, write ready. Awesome, awesome. Priyanka, thank you for your question. My son is throwing things on us for fun, how to avoid. Don't worry, I'm going to answer all these questions by the end of the session. Yeah. Okay, I'm keep getting questions. Thank you guys. Thank you for sharing all the questions. It's so nice of you. But just hold on your questions. I'm going to answer all of your questions by the end of the session. Okay. Now let's quickly start with infants and toddler stage. Now, what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about first the common challenges which we face with infants and toddlers. I'm going to share about two, three problems. Then I'm going to share why it happens. And following, we'll talk about solutions. Now, for a toddler, there are three things which we are going to talk about. There would be many challenges, but here I'm just focusing on just top three things. So, first is sleep issues. Now, many infants struggle with sleep due to their development rhythms. So, what happens? Parents often deal with night waking up. They always say that my child sleeps in the morning and does not want to sleep at night, which means there is irregular sleep patterns. That is a very common challenge which I hear from parents of 0 to 3 years. Second is the separation anxiety, which means around 6 to 8 months babies, they recognize their caregivers or they recognize their parents really well, and they may feel distressed or they may feel agitated. They would cry when they are separated. So we call it separation anxiety. So that is the second problem which we are going to talk about. And third, very common, is the temper tantrums. Now, toddlers experience big emotions but lack their verbal skills. So they are not able to speak their problems. They are not able to share why they are feeling it, and their verbal skills to express themselves is very low, which is leading to tantrums. Now, let's understand why these things happen. These things happen because toddlers are learning, right? They are learning about independence, but they don't yet have the communication skills to navigate their needs effectively, which leads to tantrums and resistance. So why does this really happen? This happens because their prefrontal cortex, that is the front of the brain, is not able to develop. It's not yet developed. So they don't really know how to handle emotions. And during that tantrums, when we try to help them or we try to tell them something, during that time, their brain is completely shut off because their prefrontal cortex is not developed. So their logic is shut. Now, if their logic brain is shut, they practically cannot understand what you're trying to explain. So, how do we handle that situation? That situation can be handled in different manner. One, we need to focus on gentle discipline. So instead of getting angry, annoyed, redirect your behavior and use positive words, positive and reinforcement. Second is try to establish routines, especially for the sleep pattern, food pattern, because predictability helps the toddlers feel safe and secure. Even if you feel that you have to go to office, for example, tell your toddler that I will have to leave for office at 9 a.m. Say it a day before so that the child's brain is prepared and is, although it's, I'm not saying they will not throw tantrum, but predictability helps them understand, okay, this is something which is happening every day, and gradually they will understand, because that is why consistency, predictability, that makes them feel secure. Okay, this is something which is happening every day, so gradually they'll start understanding. And that reduces one, anxiety, and second is your sleep patterns. Because suppose every day at 8 you suppose the child is sleeping. If it is happening every day, the child will sleep. Every morning we'll try not giving them afternoon long naps, try giving short naps. So all these things are something which we need to work around. So, third is I like to encourage communication, use gestures, simple words, and visual clues to help toddlers express their needs. So, try to use those simple words, show them those visuals so that they can talk about their needs, they understand what actually they need. Because if we show them, only then they will know. Otherwise, they would not know how to emote themselves. Now, I use this very whenever I have. It was obviously my children are grown up now, but this I have used it with my children very often. What I had done with my both the kids, I've used this and it has really worked. I call it yes, no, yes sandwich. Suppose if my child is throwing a tantrum and I am not okay with it and I'm not okay in giving that particular thing. So rather than I saying that, oh, stop crying, try and use this. Okay, I understand you're upset because you wanted more of wafers, for example. More wafers. I understand you're upset, but first we need to finish our lunch. But after lunch, we can have it together. So, yes, I started with yes, I know you're upset and you want more snacks. I validated it. Then I said, but you have to have your lunch first. And yes, again. So, this is a no. No, you have to have lunch first. And finally, yes says, but after lunch, we'll have it together. So, yes, no, yes sandwich. Try this kind of a technique which will help you understanding your own child better. Now, write in the comment section what was the hardest part of parenting a toddler for you? What was that hardest part for you? Yeah, this today's live session, I'm going to make it interactive. That's why I'll keep asking you questions and start typing in all the answers so that I know what are you. Yes, absolutely. Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys. I love it. I love it. When you are interactive, I love it even more. Great, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's move to the next segment. The next segment is about preschool and early childhood. I'm talking about the age group which is 3 to 6 years. Here we are talking about socialization, independence. So let's understand few common challenges first. Now, first is the power struggles. Preschoolers want independence, which can lead to defiance when they don't get their way, which means when the preschoolers wants independence and if they don't get what they want to, that leads to power struggles. That's one. Second is fear of new experiences. Some children become anxious about trying new activities, meeting new people, trying new food item. So that is called the fear of new experiences, but it is very common. It is very common at this age group because they are exploring, they are learning, they are seeing different people. And if you are a parent of two, then this is the best time when you can have sibling rivalry because jealousy, competition arises during this time the most, especially when they have a younger sibling. So now, suppose your child is 3 to 6 and you have an older one. So if they are a younger sibling, they are born to have the sibling rivalry because this is the time when they become jealous. This is the time when they become competitive and they feel, Mama, why are you doing that with Didi, or why are you doing that with Bhaiya? Do it with me. Why not with me? I'll do exactly what Bhaiya is doing. I'll do what exactly what Didi is doing. So there's a lot of sibling rivalry. Now, why does it happen? Now, children at this stage are actually testing your boundaries. They are testing limits. They are learning social norms and they are developing those autonomy. अरे वाह, मम्मा तो ना भी बोल सकते, हम तो ना भी बोल सकते हैं मम्मा को. Because till that time, 0 to 3 years, they had only said yes and they knew that this is what mama said, what papa said, this is what is right. But now, in 3 to 6 years, they know there's something called no. And if we say no, then mama papa will listen. So they know very well our psychology rather than we knowing their psychology, because children are very smart these days. So, what do you do in this case? Number one, offer controlled choices. Let children feel a sense of control by providing them limited options. Don't give them 10 options. Okay, do you want red shirt, blue shirt, green shirt, yellow skirt, yellow shirt, brown shirt, whatever? No, don't do that. Don't give too many choices. They get puzzled. Give them two choices, just two. Do you want to wear red shirt or yellow shirt? That's it. That's one. So controlled choices is very important. Second is encourage positive reinforcement. Praise their effort, guys. I've always told parents you need to appreciate their effort and good behavior rather than focusing on mistakes. It's easy for us to focus on mistakes, that you've not done this, you've done that, this is not good, no, don't do this, no, don't do this. So our no is so high that we forget that we are just focusing on the mistakes and we are not praising for their efforts and their behavior. Even if the smallest behavior, try to appreciate for that effort. And number three is teaching them emotional regulation. Help kids name their feelings and use breathing exercises to calm down. Now, how do you name their feelings? This is a simple thing which I have done with my little one and it has really worked. So my little one, whenever he gets angry or whenever he is upset or super agitated, rather than saying that don't be angry, why are you behaving in that manner, I say, oh, are you feeling angry? Let's do jumping jacks together. So what I have done, I've named that emotions of anger. It's okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad. Name those emotions. Tell them about their feelings and teach them how can you regulate them. Oh, you're very feeling very sad today. Let's do pillow fight or something like that. Or let's punch the pillow. So what is happening? You're naming the feelings and you're telling them how to regulate that feeling in the next time. So instead of forcing a fearful child into a playground slide, let them observe. Encourage small little steps and praise their efforts. That is the segment two. Now, third segment, we are going to talk about the middle childhood, where we are talking about 6 to 12 years, where here we are focusing on expanding knowledge, emotional growth. Now, what are those common challenges during this age? This is a perfect age for your preteen, for your middle childhood. So, what are those common challenges? Now, common challenges are number one, school pressure. Homework, test, performance, expectations can create stress in the child, and we don't have to create that stress on our children, because that stress is something which we are seeing for ages. This kind of stress is something we have seen the kids for ages. Now, second is the peer influence. First is the school pressure, second is the peer influence. Now, friendship becomes the central of it. The most important thing becomes friendship for the children. And children may struggle with fitting in. They want to be friends with a certain group and they would not be able to fit in, and they want to fit in all the groups. They want to feel loved. They want that everybody should feel that, oh wow, she's a best friend, he's a best friend. So that is the second one, the peer influence. The third is the responsibility and self discipline. Teaching them chores, homework habits, and accountability can be a challenge. Now, telling them, okay, do your homework. Why do I have to tell you doing your homework? Why can't you do it by yourself? Why don't you put the plate in the sink, or why don't you wash the dishes, or why don't you keep the things in the right place? Household chores. So all those things children don't understand at this age, 6 to 12. So teaching them household chores, teaching them homework is your responsibility, or homework habit, all these things are challenge. And why does it happen? Because this stage is where children begin seeking autonomy while still needing parental support and structure. They need parents, but they feel that you will not understand, you don't know life, and mama, you will not understand, papa, you will not understand. Because they feel, I am independent, I can do things by myself, I don't need you. But innerly, they know they need you. So, how do we solve this problem? So, there are three things which I'm going to tell you today. Number one is create structured routine. Now, consistent study time and schedule help children manage responsibilities really well. That is number one. So, start creating those structured routines with your children. Number two is encourage open conversation. Ask them about their friendship, interest, struggle without judgment. The best way to create open conversation is go for a solo date with your child. You can be a father, you can be a mother. Learn to go to a solo date once in 15 days. Best is once in a week. But if you don't have time and if you feel that no, it won't be possible, do it once in 15 days. But go on a solo date with your child so that you can have those open conversation about life, about their interest, and no judgment, no lecture, only listening, only open conversation, only happiness. That is second. And third is teaching them problem solving. Guide children through conflicts instead of solving them for them. So, what do I say over here is teach them problem solving skills. So, the best way to teach these problem solving skills is during the night time. Now, what happens throughout the day? You may not have time. Throughout the day, the child may be busy, you may be busy, their classes, your work, your things, everything. But the night time, create a cute routine with the child, because 1 hour before the child goes to sleep, their yes brain gets activated. There they are able to understand you better. They are able to manage what you are saying better. So, this is a perfect time to teach them what you want to, rather than lecturing them throughout the day. First, listen to them. Then, tell what you feel about that particular thing, and teach them how they can solve those problems. The best way is also tell about your problems, because when you tell them about your problem and they give you feedback or they give you solutions for it, you are practically teaching them emotional intelligence, you are teaching them creativity, you are teaching them it is okay to have problems, it is okay to get into trouble, but it is important to come out of it. Resilience. So all these things is best you can talk at the night time, 1 hour before the child sleeps. Now, if your child struggles with homework, instead of saying just do it now, ask. Just ask a simple question. What part is hard for you? Let's figure it out together. Maybe it is not the problem of intention, it is the problem that the child does not know how to do it. Also, I have some amazing strategies like the binaural beats. Start teaching so you can be the student for your child, and you can say, okay, this concept you are going to teach me today. Get a small board, get a whiteboard or a blackboard, and tell your child to teach you that particular concept. What will happen when the child teaches? I suppose when if I want to learn something, the best way is by teaching. So these strategies really help. So, what strategies help your child manage school related stress? Write it in the comments. Let's see what's there stored for you. Because I'm also learning from you guys every day. Every day it's a learning session for me as well. Awesome, guys. Awesome. Now, next, let's go to the segment 4. Segment 4 is on adolescence. Adolescence is the age of teenager where they are trying to talk about identity, independence, emotional turmoil going on in their lives. So, what are the common challenges? Common challenges are mood swings, emotional outbursts. Teenagers experience hormonal changes that affect their emotions badly. They become rebellious. They are risk takers. They testing boundaries is a normal part of identity development. You will suddenly realize what the hell is happening. Why are they so rebellious? They were never like this. What suddenly happened? Their communication breakdowns. Teens may withdraw and feel misunderstood many times. You would feel the child is not understanding, child is feeling mom dad are not understanding. So there is a communication breakdown, right? So why does it happen? Because this is the time teenagers are developing their sense of self and independence, which can create a friction with authority figures. They might feel that my mom dad are not just understanding me. Why do they behave in this manner? Your life is different. We are Gen X kids. You don't understand. There is a generational gap. So, all those things the children talk about at this point of time. When they are teenagers, they know what is right, what is wrong, they understand, but they are in no mode to communicate with the parents. So what do we do? This is a very common question. What do we do? Because we know this is happening in every household. So हमें क्या करना है? First of all, active listening. Start listening, guys. Instead of reacting, acknowledge their feeling and ask open-ended question. Don't just close the communication. What I've said is right. Just follow it. It will not happen. Active listening. सुन के देखो. Maybe their perspective is right. Remember, I have done a video on mango in the bag. That is a lovely concept which I really like to talk about. Now, what is that concept? So, suppose Rahim and Ram, they were students, and a teacher asked Rahim, how many if I put two mangoes in your bag, and you have two mangoes in your bag, and I put two more mangoes in the bag. How many mangoes are there? He said, five. Teacher's confused. What happened? Probably he did not understood the question. She repeated it again. But then Rahim again said, it's five. Said, why don't you understand? And she was about to get agitated. Then she changed the question. Okay, you have two strawberries in your bag, and I put two more strawberries. How many are there? She was. Then he said four. She's super happy. Oh wow, he's understood. Then he said again. Okay, now same question. Two mangoes in the bag. I put two more mangoes. How many are there? He said five. So he said, Rahim, why are you not understanding the question? Then he immediately said, ma'am, you're not understanding me. I already have one mango in the bag. So if I put two mangoes, it becomes three. And if you give two more mangoes, total is five. And the teacher is laughing. And that's the concept of mango in the bag. And unfortunately, that can happen with our children as well. We might be thinking the child is not understanding, child is thinking mama, papa are not understanding. But let's always remember this mango in the bag whenever you're talking to your child. You never know what is their perspective. We have to step on their shoes and we have to understand what they feel about it. Second is setting clear but flexible boundaries. You need boundaries, guys, but setting clear boundaries, but flexible one. Define rules while allowing room for negotiation. I'll give you an example. So we always have a system that by 8 my daughter has to come back home from playing. But there are certain days she comes at 8, 5, 8, 10. That is okay. So yesterday she said that Papa, I can stay there till 8:30, and we were like, no, why do you want to stay there? And their exams got over day before yesterday. Then we said, okay, fine, you can stay till 8:30, and she was super happy. So that was I was very clear that okay, we can go to play, but only for today. It's 8:30, not for every day. So I was clear in setting my boundary, but I was flexible because for that particular day she wanted a 30-minute grace. So have room for negotiation and talk about it. That is the best way to understand your teenager. Third, helping teens making responsible decisions instead of forbidding everything. Discuss potential consequences and let them learn from experiences. Don't have to say that if you do this, you will fall into trouble. Let them try it. Let them try it, and till the time they are not physically hurt, till the time they are not mentally hurt, it is okay to try. But if you feel they are physically hurt, be there to help them. But don't forbid them from taking any decision. They will always feel that you are helicoptering on them. You become helicopter parents for that time. But we don't want that. So it's important to give them opportunity so that they can learn from their experiences. So instead of saying, sometimes if you are not going out today, try, let's talk about what this worries me and find a compromise. Anything which is troubling you, any decision the child is taking, it's troubling you. You are not doing this. Don't do that. Okay, let's talk. Let me tell you what is my concern about it. Why do I feel it? And you tell me why should I allow it. Keep the communication open. All right. So now you can ask me as many questions you want. I'm all ready for all your questions, guys. Okay, so questions are coming in. In the meanwhile, let me quickly summarize. So today we explored about different developmental stages and the parenting challenges they come with them. Parenting is a journey, guys. Journey of learning, adaptation, patience. So tell me also, what is that one new strategy you will try in your parenting journey after today's discussion? Lovely. I am getting loads of questions. And I really want to know in the comment section what is that one new strategy. And guys, also, you all know that I have written this book called Give Your Child Wings, the Ultimate Parenting Guide. And this is the book all about. It has got all the things which I spoke about. In fact, much more. I have just tried to concise that information which is there in the book. So you will get loads of information. If you want to go ahead, get your copy. Don't forget to get this copy, and you will have loads of learning with it. You can also join my exclusive WhatsApp group for any kind of queries and everything. And let's now jump into the questions. I hope you all are ready. Okay, so my son is throwing things on us for fun, how to avoid. Now I think by now you would know what you have to do if your child is throwing things on you for fun. See, when we create a boundary, we have to abide by it. Something which you're not okay with, tell your child that you're not okay with. If you want to throw things, you have to give a designated place. Probably you can throw it on the bed, for that matter. And if you're not okay with throwing things, Tell them openly and just set that boundary. No means no. So don't do it. Get hold of your child, be a little firm, not screaming, not shouting, not anything, but just be a little firm and tell your child that no, you will not do this and this is not okay. Instead, tell him what he can do. Rather, rather than just stopping it, no, don't do it, try to give them alternative. Okay, this is what you should do, or this is what you can do. Okay. My child is a Shubhangi. I hope that is clear. Okay. Sindhu. My child, uh, my child is a pricky eater. Does not want to try things. Okay. So perfect. If your child is a picky eater and does not want to try things, it is very normal. Please share the age of their child. 6 years. Okay. So now the child's taste buds changes every 2 weeks. Okay, so don't forget on trying new things and different things. But if your child is a pricky eater, there are different ways you can do it. After the live, just share me hi, I will share the video wherein I have explained everything what you should do if your child is a pricky eater, and you're going to love that video. However, one or two things which I want to share with you. So children are picky eater because of few things. They are scared of trying new things. Now you can do some amazing activity. I've shared this activity in this book also. This is called the uh, taste test challenge. Now what you do is you blindfold the child and you give them 8 to 10 items, food items, which they can eat. Now in that process, what you can do is you can while you're blindfolded, um, uh, you put things in his mouth and the child has to guess the food. And this is such an amazing activity I do once in 15-20 days with my children, and they love it because this is a fun activity, but at the same time you are at least telling them to have a bite. They might not like it, but because of this guess game they enjoy it so much. They were like, oh wow, this looks fun, looks amazing. And they have it. So that is what we have to try as parents, honestly. This is the only thing which we should try, because that's how they will learn and that's how they will be able to do it better. Okay. Hi, ma'am. What to do with children who are only 1 year of age? Hi, Vaishnavi. Thank you for the question. So, if the child is 1 year of age, I have a blog written what all activities you can do with 1 year age children. To name a few of them, there is something called black and white visual cards. I don't know if you've started using it. Start using those visual cards. That is very helpful. Second is try to use Alexa and put some this thing, what do you call, nursery rhymes. Let them listen and enjoy with them. Try baby gym. It has been fun for my child. I have loved that for 1 year old and all that. Try giving them some of those rattle sets and all that. That is very helpful. And I have a list of 50 things which you can give to your child, Vaishnavi. So just after the live, just send me a hi, or once I post this live, you can just ask me for this and I will share that blog with you. I hope it is clear. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Ankita, you've answered my question. Awesome. Thank you, Ankita. Thank you, Ratna. I've answered your question. Okay, okay. Lovely, lovely. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this discussion. Parenting isn't about perfection, guys, it's about progress. Every time. you are attending this session, that shows that you want to progress. Once you're ready to learn and once you're progressing, that's all is needed in parenting. So, see you in the next Wisdom Waves Wednesday. Take care of yourself. Love you. Happy parenting. Take good care.